as I say, or I shall burn your nation to the ground. This I command!
Very well. We have no choice but to do as you command. For now.
See how meekly I'll obey the commands of a true emperor?
Serpentor! 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 Serpentor!
Resistance to the rule of Serpentor is no more!
Hello everybody, Japan Turn 3. Before we start Japan, one of the viewers of the YouTube channel pointed out correctly that back in Italy, I could not have picked up the infantry and mech from here because it was contested by British. So these two could not have been here, so therefore I cannot pick it up from there. So those that were there are going to move to Italian Libya. The transport that came empty from Gibraltar, 1, 2, 3 to pick it up and drop it off, instead will take an artillery from Gibraltar. So that's a correction from the illegal move from picking up the transport cannot pick up in an embattled war zone. So I'm just going to take, instead of the 2 items here, the artillery from Gibraltar and put it there. So that will fix that problem. Now going back to Japan. The purchases. So Japan had $69. So over here, so we purchased $2 for the tech, aircraft carriers, 3 fighters, 2 subs, and 3 infantry. So the attacks will be, so from Midway, the transport from Midway will pick up a infantry from Hawaii and go to Line Islands. A transport from Wake Island will pick up a infantry from Hawaii, so 1, 2, and drop it off in Johnson Islands. Okay, next. All right, let me just put that here like this. All right, then we are going to attack Guam, which is right here. And how are we going to do that? We're going to pick up for the transport in P-22. I'll go 1, 2, and pick up the artillery and infantry from Kwantung and drop it off on the island. In addition, the fighter from Kiangsu will go 1, 2, 3, 4 will land on the aircraft carrier, which I will move right away. Even though it's a non-combat, I'm still going to move it right away. 1, 2, so he can land there. So that's one fighter there. The other attack that will happen is these 2 bombers from Kiangsu will go 1, 2, 3, 4 and try to bomb the damaged battleship. Then these, I will use 4 infantry, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 5 and attack Indo-French China. Then, here, let me substitute one here, like that. So those 4 will go in Indo-China. Then 3 infantry and an artillery will go into Sichuan. The artillery from Hunan will go into Kaichou. Then I will use 2 tacticals and 2 fighters from Shanxi and go 1, 2, 3 and attack Dorn Nogobi. So we'll have 1 left. We'll land in Amur. We'll also send 2 infantry, 1, 2, into Dorn Nogobi. Apologize for the pronouncement. Okay. And then we will send 3 infantry, 1, 2, 3. 3 infantry, 1, 2, 3. So we'll just replace this. 3 infantry to attack from Amur to Saka with 2 artilleries and a mech, plus the tank from Soviet Far East. So Soviet Far East will go 1, 2. So attacking Saka will be a tank from Soviet Far East, 3 infantry, 2 artillery, and 1 mech from Amur. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me just put the markers so I don't forget. So 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. All right, and I'll put 1 down there where the battleship is. All right. So, let's do the battles. Let's do the battleship. So you have a damage to battleship, so you have a 2. And I have 4 2s. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 2s. And I got 1 hit, that's all I needed. Your response, no hit. Okay, so that is done. And we'll land in Borneo. Okay. Then let's do Guam. So I have 2 at 2 and 1 at 3. 2 hits, I only need 1. You defend on a 4. And you hit. So I will take the infantry and I take Guam. Let us do this one over here, Dornogobi. So I've got 2 3s, 2 4s, and 2 1s. Yes. 4 hits. So I only need 3. You have a 1 and 2 2s. You got 1 hit. So I lose an infantry, and you lose your 2 infantry and the horse. All right. Now for the battle that I don't know how it's going to go. So I've got, there's no airplane, so the anti-aircraft does not have an effect. So I have a 3 and 4 2s and 2 1s. Two hits. Okay. So you will probably lose the anti-aircraft and an infantry. So you respond with, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2s. You respond with 5 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, you got 3 hits. All right, so I lose 3 infantry, the mech, and an artillery. And you lose 1 infantry and artillery. Wow, I think I will no longer attack and will retreat. So this will go back, this will go back. All right, so non-combats now. So all of these planes will land here, and because they had 1 left, so they're going to land here. So this is now taken over. This infantry will go from Soviet Far East to Siberia. The tactical will go from Sensi 1, 2, 3 on the aircraft carrier with this fighter that's on the aircraft carrier. And Guam is here now. Okay. Okay. Then the 2 fighters that are in Anhui will go 1, 2, 3. No, Anhui 1, 2, 2, 3, 4 on Japan. Okay. The infantry from Guangxi will move to Guangdong. Oh, we have a battle here, forgotten. So 4 infantry against 1 infantry. So I got 4 ones. Nothing. You've got 1, 2, and you hit. So I got 3 left. I got it. You have 1, and you miss. So I lose 1, you lose 1. So I'm up 2, 3, 4. I did not get this 4. And Guam is nothing, so I'm only up 4 from what I was before. So I take these islands. Now the transport that was here in P25, I did not move, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and unload 2 infantry, 1, 2, into Korea. And that's about it. So I'm up 4 in terms of territories. So that means that I have 7 islands. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 with Borneo. That's $3 for each one. That's $21. Plus Honolulu of 5. So Japan gets $81. Now dispositions. P32 has a transport. Line Islands has an infantry. Johnson Island has an infantry. And P33 has a transport. P25 has 3 aircraft carriers, 3 fighters, 3 tacticals, 2 subs, 2 destroyers, 1 battleship, and 1 cruiser. Midway has 1 infantry. Wake Island has 1 infantry. Aleutian Islands has 2 infantry. Soviet Far East has 1 infantry. Siberia has 1 infantry. Oh, I have to put my bills. Sorry about that, guys. So, sub, aircraft carrier, and I'm going to put and fighter, 2 fighters here and 1 in Japan. And the 3 infantry will go in Kansu. All right, so continuing, because that didn't change. Siberia, 1 infantry. In Amur, there is 1 infantry, 1 tank, 1 artillery, 2 tacticals, 2 fighters, and an anti-aircraft. Dornogobi is 1 infantry. Korea has 2 infantry. P14 has 2 subs, transport, 2 fighters, and aircraft carrier. Japan has 3 anti-aircraft. 1, 2, 3, 5 infantry, 3 fighters. Kansu has 3 infantry. Szechuan, 3 infantry, 1 artillery. Kaichou, 1 artillery. Yunnan, 1 infantry. East Burma, 1 infantry. Thailand, 1 infantry. French Indochina, 3 infantry. Guangdong, 1 infantry. Borneo, an infantry at 2 bombers. And that's it.